Welcome back to another video of FLAIR, where we make trading very simple. If you're new here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you've already subscribed, welcome back, FLAIR family. It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. I know. I'm recording this video on the 23rd of January. Look at the 23rd of December. So if you already hit Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. But before I start this breakdown, today I'll be breaking down 4 major pairs, mainly because I've been seeing such clear opportunities, right? But I just really want to show gratitude to everybody that has been consistently putting in the work out there, especially in trading. It's not easy. And the FLAIR family, guys, it's been growing. 869 followers to wrap up the year, guys. This is very impressive. And then with the reels, you guys are going crazy. 1,000 plays, even the mentorship results, you guys love them. So I'll just keep on making sure that I do be consistent, especially on Instagram. That's where I will post my trade breakdowns. You will be knowing if I will be posting any types of videos anytime soon. So make sure to hit that follow button, especially on Instagram. I will be taking video ideas, especially in the month of January. So make sure you DM me and make sure you get yourself sorted, right? But now going on to the next to business, I will be breaking down 4 pairs, so stay tuned. All right, so starting off the breakdown, I'll be doing USD CAD and relatively the other 4 pairs. Let me just show you what other pairs I want to be analyzing, right? So namely USD CAD, GBPUSD, Euro USD, and AUD USD. So if any of these pairs are on your watch list, you're going to have fun in this video, right? So make sure to do watch till the end, right? But now, starting off, I really want to start on the higher time frame, mainly because we're heading into a new year, and there's been different concepts I've been really putting in the work in, like different types of market cycles. So it's really nice because I love the fact that you guys are walking the journey with me, especially if I introduce anything new into my analysis, and you guys can tag along. Any questions, please make sure to send me in the DMs on Instagram, or just comment down below. I think that's any of the two are proper, right? So starting off with USD CAD, right? Clean market structure. Some may say we are consolidating. We've been consolidating since relatively like 2 years ago, 2022, relatively 2 years ago, guys. But yeah, to start off the breakdown, I really like to mark out the highs. The price has reached this end of the year and the one. So basically the lowest point we have reached this year was around July the 17th, and then the highest point was relatively around October the 20th, relatively October this year, right? So now, since we understand that, right, I know this is the range I'm playing in between these 2 highs and lows, right? So now we can safely go into the 1 hour time frame, right, or the daily time frame, my bad. So what I like to do is break down structure from the top to from the bottom to the top, right, relatively into this order block, not order block, but this price action relatively over here. But to start things off, right, make it simple, make it clean. Always the highs and the lows, mark them out. The highs and the lows, the highs and the lows. The obvious, the most obvious ones, because those are the ones that are going to help you, like, literally draw out market structure, right? Right, let's make the lows blue. Lows blue. All the lows will be blue. All the lows will be blue. And then all the highs will remain red, right? This is a different shade of blue, but it's okay. But yeah, so now we've made all the lows blue. We'll even make this one. Nice. So now we understand that all the lows are here and then all the highs over here, right? As we can clearly see, price was really bullish, especially from the month of July, pushing all the way up, and then it really retraced all the way down right now. From October, what is this? October, relatively November. From last month, it has been really, what we call bearish, right? So now we market the market structure. We'll classify this as a change of character because it did initially happen over here, right? So we'll just mark it out for P6. This is a change of character relatively over here. We'll move on over here. This is a change of character as well. Clean cut finish. Another change of character. No, that's a break of structure. Then we mark this out as a break of structure relatively, also this one. Hope you are paying along, keeping along with me, right? So now, since we understand these are breaks of structures, we understand that we were in an uptrend relatively all the way to November. Now price began to change, right? As soon as we saw this change of character, I knew, we all know that we have a trend reversal now. Price is starting to make lower lows and lower highs, as we can clearly see that now the blues are coming in now, and the highs are relatively on the other side, right? So now, the question is, how do we execute this as traders, right? So clean cut finish. The daily time frame isn't a zone that I really like to look for like entries, mainly because it's a very big time frame, especially since I'm not a swinger like that. I really don't like swinging, but if the opportunity does arise, I wouldn't mind taking it, right? So now we have a break of structure relatively on the daily time frame, right? So now we can move on to the 4-hour time frame, because we already identified like market structure on the higher time frame, so we already know where we're trying to go relatively towards these lows, right? So now how are we going to get here is the main question, right? And the one thing I really wanted to implement are the market cycles, right? So obviously it's consolidation, expansion, retracement, reversal, right? So now if you guys really want a video of that, make sure to get the videos of maybe 15 likes. I know you guys can do more than 15, but just get it to 15 likes. Comment down below if you're really interested. Comment market cycle and I'll make sure to drop the video of it, right? But check it out, right? I'll give you a clear explanation. So we first have a consolidation, right? Clean cut finish. Here we have a consolidation, right? After listen, a consolidation, we have an expansion, right? An expansion is more so like an impulsive move. We all know it as that bullish or bearish strong candle after the whole consolidation, right? So that's the expansion. And then after an expansion, we get a retracement into what? The order block that the expansion has created. This order block over here, relatively over here, because we would classify this. Let me just zoom in just a little bit more, just so you guys can see the price action just a little bit more nicer. So look at this, right? This candle over here is a whole impulsive move. Look at all this consolidation that happened relatively over here, right? Price decided to break out. We'll classify this as an expansion. This is the order block that we're mainly looking at, right? This is on the 4-hour time frame, mind you, right? Because we're really trying to understand what this pair is trying to do long term wise, right? Obviously we can get the entry on the lower time frames, but for now we're focusing on what we see right now, right? So now this is a 4-hour time frame. This is the order block I've highlighted because it's mainly in that consolidation, the expansion. So now we're expecting some sort of retracement into the zone, right? Why are we expecting a retracement? Because of the imbalance that's here, right? We'll mark this out as imbalance. My man, wrong. We'll use this. Pull it to the side, put it relatively over here, and then mark this out as an imbalance, right? Clean cut finish. We'll classify this as an imbalance. So an imbalance is basically price inefficiency. This is why a price comes back into the zone and mitigate, right? So now let me just dumb it down for the people that really don't understand what inefficiency is, or like what are these things. So basically inefficiency, let's say big banks or institutionals sell off or really buy, right? So we have things like really big candles in the market, right? And then once we see that, like relatively like this is not relatively that big as we usually want it to be, but if it's really long and then there's a fair value gap inside or stuff like that, then it indicates that the banks would really want the price to come back and retrace so they can mitigate some positions. What does mitigation mean? It means close off of some positions that they're left in like losses, because there are some banks that didn't take the sell or didn't dump the price as other institutions do. So they'll try and push back up price because they are hedging, some of them, so they can close off a few positions just to minimize their losses, right? So we leverage off of those types of moves, right? As price comes into that zone, we know that we're going to be selling into, or we'll put our sell limit relatively there, right? So let's go to the 2-hour time frame. I just really want to see if we can clean it up. Relatively can, but I think this is a safe one. It's relatively in the equilibrium of the thing. Let's just take this whole consolidation. Maybe we'll just fix it up because it's relatively here. Yeah, like that's relatively 50% of the whole consolidation. So we'll just keep it like that, relatively like that. And then also the zone looks really clean. Like this is a demand zone. So if you do stay on the 4-hour time frame, relatively like this, so we'll just fix a price action like that, push it relatively over here, maybe dumb it down so we can see the take profit target, right? So now we come in and we tap in relatively here. Maybe your stop loss could be relatively right by the wick of this, right? And then we could be targeting these lows, right? How am I getting these lows? These lows were the ones that we found on the 1 week time frame, the ones that we were highlighting relatively over here. This is a low that we understand that we want to get. And don't forget, guys, price is coming mainly because of this trend line. So we can see coming deeper into these zones over here, mainly because there are order blocks that it needs to mitigate, right? But for now, we're not even trying to get all the move, right? We're just trying to get some of it. Some of the pips is more than all of the pips, right? So now my anticipation is that there is a consolidation relatively over here, right? There's an expansion. We're waiting for some sort of retracement back into the order block that caused the expansion or the breakout of the consolidation. Then we can get a reversal. Once we get a reversal, then we know that price is gonna come deeper, right? 39 pips is a lot, but just understand that it is a good risk reward ratio, mainly because you're getting on the 400 time frame and the order block is relatively clean with imbalance, guys. So I think this is a good swing setup. This is what USD CAD. So now we're going on to GBPUSD. All right, so this is GBPUSD. This pair was one of my top pairs of the year. I really like the way it moves. It's GBPUSD is that type of pair that's like, it pays, it moves really nice. Yes, there are months where there's hella manipulation, but it's a relatively good moving pair. I could even trade this alone, like the whole of relatively like end of the year. But this one is definitely staying on my watch list. But let's do the breakdown again. Hopefully, if you're still new to the channel, please just follow through with me. Any questions you have, please make sure to hit down the comment section below. And if any of you guys are really interested in the mentorship program, the students and the clients do go harder than this, guys. If you're gaining value from this, imagine if you're in like the mentorship, right? So just click the link in my bio. Everything is there. If you guys want me to talk more about my course and more about my mentorship and how things run about, make sure to comment. Get the video to 15 likes, guys. I need to see some sort of feedback for me to understand that you guys are actually watching my videos and want more from me. You get what I mean? But nonetheless, let's just start off with GBPUSD. We mark out this low, we mark out this high, right? So we know what playground we're playing in, right? So we could relatively talk about all this price action, but right now it's really irrelevant because we're trading anything that's happening relatively over here, right? This high was generated relatively July, and then I'm anticipating that the reversal relatively happen around November, the same time as the other pairs, right? It's like all the major pairs kind of respect each other in a way. So it's like June, the middle of the year or the end of the second quarter, that's where price really like respects or rejects or reverses into some sort of downtrend or uptrend, right? So now we understand what zone we're playing in. Let's go into the daily time frame. Daily time frame looking nice, looking scrumptious. So obviously, like the way I said it, I really like to start my thing from the top to the bottom, but relatively with this one, because we can already see how it is. We had a downtrend, right? So now we started from the bottom over here, then we had a change of character relatively over these lows, right? So we classify this as a what? As a change of character. Change of character happened. Let's mark out the lows and the highs just to gain a sense of understanding of these markets, right? Mark out that high, mark out this high. We'll relatively mark out this high because it did kind of break it and mainly purchase liquidity if maybe you tap into the lower time frame. But we'll keep the lows blue, right, just for relatively sakes, and make the highs red. This is mainly for me because I like to understand what the market structure is. If you know where the market is trying to go, it makes it easier for you to really trade, right? So we go to 4-hour time frame, relatively over here. So on the 4 time frame, it also looks really nice. We really jumped the daily time frame more than anything else. Let's just check out the daily time frame right quick. So with the daily time frame, it's relatively the same thing. There's a change of character, there's a break of structure relatively over here. Maybe we can mark out structure on the daily time frame because it does look a little bit cleaner, right? So we'll mark this out as a break of structure. We'll copy that into over here because we'll mark that out as a break of structure, right? Clean cut finish. Now we can tap into the 4-hour time frame, relatively safe, right? So now the 4-hour time frame is looking really nice, right? As you can clearly see, impulsive move. Like, this is what I'm talking about in terms of an expansion, right? And look, before the expansion, what happened, right? A consolidation. Price was playing around this area. So consolidation, expansion, retracement, reversal, all the way up, right? That's how usually it works. With an introduction of the purchase of liquidity, it's like the more and more you trade, is the more and more reasons come about for you to see the things that I see, right? So now we'll mark this out as purge of liquidity. This is a sense of an imbalancement because of what? Price moved up and we're anticipating that price will come back and what? Close off these positions because there is unfulfilled orders, right? Relatively over here, right? Then the order block that we are seeing relatively is this one, mainly because it's the one that caused it's the one that changed character. Because if I take this, right, yes, there is a break of structure over here, right? But the change of character initially happened over here, right? I could classify this as an internal. It is on the 4-hour time frame, just for relativity's sake, guys. Like, I just want to show you that there's so much confluence to these types of trades, especially with this pair. Like, it respects like these types of setups, right? So this order block relatively here on the consolidation is the most probable one that I can see, right? We just wait for the retracement to happen to fill out this imbalance, right? And then where is our take profit, right? Relatively, we could mark it out as this one, mainly because there is some sorts of liquidity resting on top of over here, right? So the top of this could relatively be a take profit 1. Take profit 2 could relatively be all the way over here. This is what we found on what? On the what is it? The 1 week time frame. So the weekly time frame is where we found that, right? But for now, looking at the entry over here, we can take the position relatively over here. This is our take profit, we leave it over there, and then this is where our entry is, right? Relatively leaving it relatively on the pip. I don't know, since I've been backtesting using the macro cycle, like, price really doesn't take time. Even if it does come in, it's like the usual 50%. It is a bit more risky to put it on the pip like this, but for me, mainly because this is on the 4-hour time frame, I really don't anticipate it really playing around. And at the end of the day, you need to understand, it's still December now. January is gonna tap in. I'm expecting maybe end of Jan the markets will be fully volatile, as we usually are used to them. So we can expect price to play around these areas over here for a while before it comes to our entry, right? So just stay tuned. I am recording this on the 23rd of December, so make sure, right? So with GBPUSD, this is what I see. Maybe we can go to the 2-hour time frame. Maybe if you can see if we can refine the zone. But overall, this is looking really nice, looking really clean. Even if we take the Gantt box, put it relatively over here, we can see that 50% is relatively between these two order blocks. So I'm anticipating price will come into this zone over here. I could just highlight this order block, but I feel like it's a pretty good zone, and these days I'm really trading with a lot more capital, and my risk tolerance is better. Like, I'm not this in the beginning, like a lot of my fear from trading and losing money has really decreased. So I'm really comfortable taking any long positions, especially if the confluences stack up like this, right? So this is GBPUSD. So now we're moving on to the next pair. Alright, so now we are tapping into EURUSD. EURUSD is like the sister of GBPUSD, right? Relatively what we see on GBPUSD will give us a hint on how EURUSD will work, because they're relatively both pound pairs. So now, understanding that and putting that into consideration, taking the same steps that you took in the first pair will probably give you the same answers of the sister. They're identical in some sort of way. They share the same characteristics, right? So now we come in over here. We label this high, all right? Mainly because we want to know what our playground is, guys. When I do these things on the weekly time frame, it's not because it's for fun. It's for me to understand where am I playing in, because you don't want to be focusing on price relatively too for like 2022, guys. Yes, it could work, but right now we're focusing on the reversal, the current market price. We're playing off of this action, this price action that's relatively happening over here, right? And the same way with the other ones, the reversal relatively happened on July, and then the retreat, like another reversal or the pullback really like started happening around November, like, you know, October time. This one was a little bit late in terms of response, in terms of a reversal, but we already know that GBP is a bit quicker in terms of like entries and setups, right? But now, since we know what playground we're playing in, let's tap into the lower time frame. Like I said, I really like starting my analysis from the top to the top, right? So now we already see that there's a downtrend, just like GBPUSD, guys. Top to the bottom, downtrend, right? Then we see a change of character initially happening over here, right? Obviously it happened relatively here, but just for reference sake, I'll just mark this out as a change of character because I can see it. And then obviously the lows and the highs will be marked out as clear as I can see them, right? So now we'll make the lows blue as we usually do. Let me just remove this here. The lows blue as we usually do. Blue over here, and another blue over here, right? So now clearly understanding that we can see that there's a break of structure that relatively happened over here. That is a break of structure, and then we copy this on top of here, right? So here we won't really classify it as a break of structure as of yet, because there's really nothing happening. Look at this, just a wick, right? So my anticipation is that price will retrace into these zones over here just to push up further into these highs, right? I'm really targeting these highs. Like this year or 2024, I'm not here to play. I really want to punish these pairs, especially because they've been punishing me for the past few years, guys. But yeah, let's tap into the 4 hour time frame, right? Relatively is looking clean, is looking nice. We're looking at this to the T, right? So what I can already see just like GBPUSD, we can mark out this as a consolidation, mainly because price was playing around this point for a while, right? Before it had expanded out as much as it is. So how does it go? It's a consolidation, expansion, retracement, and then reversal, right? So right now what we can clearly see is that price is really preparing to reverse in some sort of way, because this is a rising wedge, right? We could even label it like this, right? I anticipate price just playing in here for a while before it comes back in, and then we could even classify this as trendline liquidity, guys. This is trendline liquidity, right? Okay, cool. With that perspective in mind, right? So we understand that the order blocks that we're really interested in are the ones that expanded or the ones that changed character. Look at the beauty of this, right? We take the thing, this is a change of character, right? We come in here, we mark it out as a change of character. This is also relatively, we could say it's relatively responsible for the break of structure. But for now, we'll just take a step back and really say it's just responsible for the change of character, not the break of structure, right? So we can remove this for now, right, and let price do its thing, right? So my anticipation is that we're gonna come in relatively into this order block, right? Look at the beauty of this with more confluence, right? So now I come in with the arrow, right, relatively over here. This is a called on what? An imbalance, guys. Can you see? Like it's just really copy and paste of the same thing. And even if you can see, this order block is relatively at a spot where it's really sensitive. Like we can anticipate price could be bouncing off of these areas as much as it is. Let me just fix everything up. Yeah, like relatively over these areas. But overall, like this is a good order block as much as it is. We could be targeting the highs as much as it is, or like GBPUSD, relatively the high that is formed after this, right? So we just wait for some change of character to happen. Let's go to the lower time frame, right? The lower time frame, price has been pushing up, but right now it's really not doing anything. If you can even mark this out like this is some trendline liquidity relatively over here. We can expect price to push over lower and lower. A lot of people, when I was looking at this pair earlier during the day, right, I was looking at this point over here, right? Relatively here there is an expansion. We could even classify this as what do you call this, as some sort of we can classify this as some sort of consolidation, right? But now what with understanding the whole concept of like chart patterns and the bigger picture, right, we understand that price eventually is going to get to this point, mainly because of such imbalance. Like if you compare this candle, right, and then this candle, you can already see where prices turn out to, right? And we already understand that this is liquidity at the end of the day. Like a lot of people are gonna be like, when price gets here, it's third touch, I'm buying, and then it's just gonna keep on breaking lower and lower for us to come back and get in over here, right? So my chart is, especially with this pair, targeting these highs, or relatively this one for now, is the most probable one, right? So we'll let price do whatever it does, and then as soon as there's changes of character, we already know that we're anticipating that we want to get in over here, right? Price, we don't know when price is gonna get here, right? It's literally the 23rd of December. We can see this happening relatively around the 10th of Jan or 15th of Jan, or relatively at the end of the month, right? Then we're targeting these highs over here that will be relatively met around maybe end of Feb or beginning of March, right? I'm anticipating, depending on the volatility of the market, guys. Like remember, we don't control these markets. Like the only thing we can do is just respond and anticipate as much as it is, right? So now we'll run back the same process, right? Consolidation, expansion, retracement, reversal, all the way to the top, right? Why am I saying this, right? The consolidation has been playing around over here. Now the expansion is responsible for the change of character. What is an expansion? An expansion is a strong candle, either bullish or bearish, breaking a high or a low, right? As you can clearly see, this did happen, right? After that happened, it was responsible for the change of character relatively that happened over here, right? Now we're just waiting for that retracement with patience. That's one thing about something about traders can. A lot of you guys even watching my videos probably can trade better than I can, right? You guys probably could make more money than I do. It's just that the lack of patience, guys. Like, you guys are very good traders out there. It's just taking the time to really hone in the skill of sitting on your hands and being like, okay, it's fine. The setup is not yet ready, and I'm calm and I'm patient and I'm really cool waiting for it to come to me rather than just forcing trades. You get what I mean? But other than that, that is Euro USD. We'll tap into the last major pair for this year, and then we'll have a fruitful one. Last but not least, we have AUD USD. I'm really not a fan of AUD pairs. They have been really choppy from my side, especially during the year. Like, I've done my best to really avoid the AUD pairs, but for relatively sake and breaking down trades, like, I really want to do it mainly because it's something that I've been struggling with, right? Especially with gold. Like, you guys, the breaking down of gold really helped. So I'm like, why not just be as a master at all of them rather than just running away from the ones I really can't trade, right? So now I'm gonna break it down with you, right? Same process. We are on the weekly time frame. We wanna understand the direction and how we can anticipate and how we can leverage off of this, right? Remember, it's end of the year right now, so scalping and really taking those intraday trades is going to be very difficult, especially since it's the beginning of the year. I would really just say, just let the market really pick its form of direction, especially in the first month of January, and then let it flow, right? But overall, let's get into business. High marked and then low marked, right? So relatively, let's see how this one coped. January was the time it really changed character and then pushed, and then it only started retracing relatively around October as well, right? So we could mark out these highs also as the most recent highs for now, but for now we'll just keep it like this. I think it looks relatively clean. Maybe we could bring it down over here just for relativity's sake, right? Like this, right? When did this happen? Relatively around June, July, as much as it is like the other pairs. Like, it's crazy how you see these things, especially once you start analyzing all the pairs to the core and to the depth, right? We'll go to the daily time frame now. Like I said before, how do I like to do things? I like to start from the bottom all the way to the top. That's how I break down my market structure, right? As you can clearly see, like the other major pairs, we were on a downtrend. We changed character relatively over here. It's the same things, guys. It's literally the same things. It's just that with some pairs, they have really different personalities, and if you don't know them, they will kill you. Well, they will not necessarily kill you, but they will give you a lot of problems, right? So now we mark out the low, the high, the low, the high, and the low, right? We can clearly see here there's a break of structure compared to Euro USD. We were still waiting for that to happen. We're relatively getting closer to the highs. This is a form of liquidity, as you can clearly see, because of the equal highs, right? So any retracement into this order blocks, I would really recommend this as a take profit, mainly because of the confluences, right? And remember, we wanted to target that high. Now we're moving into these highs over here with some sort of liquidity, right? So now, obviously, understanding that, we'll make the highs red again. It's the same process all over and all over. It's just doing this so much that you get so good in it, right? So clean cut finish, change of character happened over here. We could initially say it happened relatively over here, but for reference sake, we'll just keep it simple, right? Now we come in over here. This is a break of structure. We copy that all the way to the top. Clean cut finish like that, right? So now we move with the stick like that. Okay, cool cut finish. I really feel like there's really nothing much left on the daily time frame to break down. It's mainly just getting that market structure. Everything else will be fixed on the lower time frame. So this is the low. So now look at the beauty of this, right? I don't even have to market anything. If you've been watching the video for this far, it's literally like the last pair that we analyzed, right? So look at me, right? I want you to walk with me. Number one, this is a whole consolidation. Why are we saying a consolidation? Price really didn't move any, they just moved sideways, right? Clean cut finish, right? Then what did price do? It just expanded out. Consolidation, expansion, retracement, reversal, right? So relatively what we see over here is price just stopping a little bit, or like a lack of momentum, right? So this is a rising wedge relatively, so we can expect a reversal relatively down over here. What do you call this? Trendline liquidity. Can you see? It's literally the same thing with all the pairs, like especially when you do it consistently on a daily basis, you realize there's really nothing to trading. It's just executing the system with no emotions, just relatively looking at the market in a subjective way, not in a subjective or an objective way, just looking at the markets for what they are, guys. Like, it's the same thing. You just, all of the pairs have a different personality. Some of them are naggy, some of them are really quick, some of them are aggressive, some of them are really slow. You get what I mean? So find one that really suits the personality and then just hone on it. Like, just make sure you get it right? So now, obviously, as you can clearly see, the expansion really pulled out, right? With the expansion comes what? Change of character, right? Relatively like the other pairs, right? Change of character, we can classify this as an internal, mainly because it broke the structure, right? But we understand that the change of character happened, then the break of structure happened, right? We know this. So now, what do we see here? What do we see here? Here we see an imbalance, like we always do, right? When we see an imbalance, we already understand that the price is gonna come back to fill out that void, right? So now, what order block is the one that we can clearly see relatively before the imbalance? Relatively this one. This one is a very short or very small order block. So relatively we can mark it out like that. Maybe even add a bit of the wick just for safety, because I feel like it is a bit too small. If we can check 3-hour time frame, hopefully it does allow. Look at the 3-hour time frame. Beautiful order block, guys. Like, oh my days, like I'm I'm literally excited to see the fact that the order block really looks cleaner on the 3-hour, right? So already we can automatically see that price is trying to get to this point, but it's already failing. The momentum is dying down, right? It could eventually get over here just by moving correctively, but it's how price gets to the point that it needs to get to that's really more important, right? So my anticipation is that price will play around, and eventually break the what do you call it, the trend and liquidity. This is where we could be looking for like those lower time frame sells into the order block over here, right? But relatively over now, we can mark this out relatively here, boom, all the way to the top over here, boom. And then this is where we're planning on executing. AUDUSD is really nice, mainly because of the order block. It looks really clean, and also it's relatively by the equilibrium. Like, look at this, right? This order block relatively over here is marking out this as well. You get what I mean? So it's like there's so many confluences as well. Even if I can pull out this one as well, relatively on this high as well, 50%, really good setup. Relatively by the consolidation. For the support and resistance traders, you guys should be going haywire right now, because you already can see that this is also on a support and a resistance. Mainly everything I'm doing is just trying to do the same thing, just stacking confluence on confluence more each and every single time, right? So price will break the trend and liquidity, tap into the lower time frames, maybe come into over here. As soon as price gets to this point, the sells or the buys are going to be coming in, and then we're going to be planning on pushing price all the way to the top, relatively over here, right? Mainly because there is what? Liquidity, because there's what? Relatively equal highs, right? And then we can see ourselves coming over here to these highs, seeing how price moves, but automatically we can already see on the weekly time frame we are on a downtrend, right? And this year mainly was a year of, let me see this 2023, 2023, all the way relatively over here. Like this year we were on a downtrend for the longest of times, but like relatively at the end of the year we're really pushing up. But I really feel like a retracement is something that is going to happen. Let me go on the 3-hour time frame, this because that's how we spotted the order block. Yeah, but a retracement into this pot just to really push up and really break those highs and really get to those ones on top. But overall, that's the main cup of tea, guys. If you made it this far, please make sure to get the video to 15 likes, just to make sure that if you guys want me to break down gold, US 30 and NASDAQ in the same video, the same way I did for the currencies, make sure to get the videos in 15 likes, and also comment down below, like, do the breakdown, the next breakdown, so I know that you guys are really watching this and you really want it. Sorry for the delay. Mr. FLAIR was on vacation, but at the end of the day, guys, hope you really enjoyed this. Hope you got the gems. It's Mr. FLAIR signing out.